So today I'm going to be talking about the coronavirus. And as of a few days ago, the World Health Organization has declared it a pandemic. And the two countries that I'm going to be comparing today is Brazil and France. So France is formerly known as the Federal Republic of Brazil, and they are a federal republic for their democracy. And so they have a head of government and a chief of state, which is Bolsonaro. And Bolsonaro has very far-right political, economical, social views, and he was placed into office in 2018. As of right now, Brazil has a total of 2,554 cases, 59 deaths, and 2 people recovered. But the people within this country are furious. They are going out and they are throwing pots and pans and hitting and rallying and protesting against Bolsonaro. People that voted for him are now against him. Bolsonaro is not taking this pandemic serious at all. Within recent interviews, he has stated that hunger is going to kill more people than this pandemic and that it's all BS and it's just a cold. He's saying that it's a fantasy and he's ignored all medical advice. He believes that it's just an extreme measure that the economy can't face. In 2016, Brazil went through their worst recession in history. And Brazil does have a universal healthcare, and because of this, Bolsonaro is struggling with the balance of the public health, along with the long ailing economy. Some laws that are being taken are based through every state within Brazil. So Sao Paulo was the first one to take action. They went into a public state of emergency. And like I said, Bolsonaro believes that this is just an extreme measure that they just cannot face. He wants to keep people in their jobs. He wants to keep people working. He thinks that shutting down is not what's going to help people. Brazil is very unstable within their social status. You have the extremely wealthy and then you have the extremely poor. Through my research, I wouldn't say there's a very defined working class. There would be a lower structure of wealthy, but you have the poor who are placed in these favelas, and they're compacted into these little small areas all around the country, with not much to eat, don't have jobs, many large families. And Bolsonaro wants to blame them for this pandemic within their country. Bolsonaro's campaigning style and technique is through the ideological power. He influences his people through words and promises that he can't unsure to make himself look good, which is very similar to the style of Trump within the United States. So his biggest thing is recovering from this recession that they had in 2016, that they can't afford to go down as though they are still recovering. So he has an approach to their economic classes, and because of this, he doesn't want anything to stop. He doesn't want to quarantine people. He believes that nobody can go down into a state of, in my opinion, peace. Because of this, the economy has yet not been affected, but though in a few weeks it is hypothesized to become worse across the country and across the world, matters should be taken. But because of the fact that the economy is still struggling, that they're trying to bounce back from 2016, he is putting his people in danger through contact, through businesses, he doesn't want to put any national regulations. He doesn't want to stop airports, jobs. He wants to keep people working. He wants to keep the money going in despite their well-being, despite the fact that people are dying. He doesn't want to confront the issue and come to terms that this is something real. However, on the other side of the country, you have France, the French Republic, where you have the president Emmanuel Macron, and because they are a semi-presidential a democracy, you also have the Prime Minister, Eduardo Philippe, and they both serve public issues. They are a diversified economy, and they are the second largest in Europe, aside from Germany. France is a very wealthy country. They favor the free market. So through this, the theory of neoliberalism, where they have a mixed economy with both capitalism and socialism, they support the free economy. And because of this, they have regulations in which they don't want any layoffs or company closures. The president announced a tax break so businesses can suspend payments of any kind, and they're barred from firing. So people can claim unemployment. Their economy is stable enough to be able to support the families. Those who claim unemployment, their economy is stable enough to be able to support those families without having to manage. So within France, there are a total of 12,612 cases and 450 deaths and 792 people recovering. So because the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, he's more far to the left. He is for the people, he is for the freedoms of them, he is for their rights, he is for their well-being and their health. They have announced a 15-day countryside lockdown. So with that, anyone stepping outside into the public, they must present a certificate from the government website, which they have to carry around. And if they are confronted, or if they're confronted from somebody, a police officer, they must present that, or there will be a fine. Because they're on complete lockdown, there are businesses for grocery stores, there are businesses for medical concerns, of course, as well, that are still open. So people are still working, but only for the essentials, for the health and well-being of the people. So comparing these two countries, Brazil really cannot afford a lockdown. France is much more stable and is able to essentially have a break economically, but nobody can really say how long this is going to go on for, how long these countries, as stable as the United States, as stable as France, can go under quarantine, can go under local businesses, corporations taking a break, claiming unemployment. Whereas you have Brazil, where you have the people in power who don't want to take this seriously, and Bolsonaro is not being taken seriously by almost any of his people, despite the wealthy, who I watched an interview and I seen that they think this is a joke as well. A lot of them aren't taking it seriously. It's unfortunate that their one motive is money, though that is the motive for many people. Through this ideology of power, he is speaking of nonsense. He doesn't want to accept the facts that this is happening, that his own people are dying. And within France, they're taking it more seriously. They're able to put the people first rather than what's best for the economy. And so with that, nobody can really determine what is going to happen next. But in regards to Brazil, I think that Bolsonaro needs to be upfront with the facts, with the statistics, that people are dying, that it's not of the poor economical class, it's being spread all over the world. So this kind of comes into terms with the lack of human rights. He is not putting his people into account. He is putting himself, his wealth, into account, rather than France, where Emmanuel Macron and Eduardo Philippe are being cautious, are being safe, are keeping his people safe so that they can bounce back in a few months, so that the economy won't go too far down where they won't be able to bounce back up.